Yeah, let's talk about New Hampshire. It's that moment of panic when the script comes up and you realize you didn't copy from the running order over.
Yeah.
But I thought I handled that transition very
smoothly.
Up over our shoulders here is a New York Daily News headline, Dawn of the Brain Dead, basically talking about Donald Trump's supporters coming and rising en masse from the dead to bring him to first place. So in the Republican side, it was Trump. Kasich came in second. He still scares me. Bush, Cruz, Rubio, Christie, and then Ben Carson. Carly Fiorina and Jim Gilmore.
I was really interested to hear Kasich described as a establishment candidate the other day. So is he establishment then?
Yeah, but he's a nasty piece of work. I mean,
Ben.
But he makes it look, he makes ugly look cool, and that's kind of what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And he's also not afraid to go against the ridiculous statements, but his fiscal record and his record as governor is just terrible. We lost to Chris Christie and Carly Fiorina, both left the race yesterday. So we're down to 7.
My heart bleeds.
Jim Gilmore said, "Yeah, I don't have any chance of winning, but I'm staying in." Ben Carson could go today, tomorrow. So
I miss Ben Carson.
So there are essentially 5 serious candidates left: Donald, Kasich, Bush, Cruz, Rubio. Now, the interesting thing is that when you do the delegates math, and I'm putting a chart up behind us again, Donald Trump won 10 delegates. He has 17 in total and is leading the pack. Kasich got 3 for a total of 4. Cruz, who won Iowa, has 2 from New Hampshire for a total of 10. Bush got 2 delegates. He's now up to 3. And Rubio got none from New Hampshire.
Robot man, the man who keeps saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and he has 7. So, right now Trump is leading, Cruz is second, Rubio is third in the calculation that matters most, which is who has the most delegates, the nominating convention. On the Democratic side, it gets even more interesting. Bernie won with 60% of the vote. Hillary had about 38% of the vote. It was not even close. Big night for Sanders. The problem is they leave New Hampshire tied in delegates, 15 to 15. So massive popular vote win, but their delegates are tied. And
so where do they go next then?
Well, let's talk about this delegate math, because the reason Hillary did so well was that she got most of the superdelegates. So, basically,
what are superdelegates then?
Superdelegates are uncommitted delegates. They are delegates for all, for example, all the Democratic members of the U.S. Congress, Democratic senators, Democratic governors, past bigwigs in the Democratic Party.
So they're all super delegates.
These are super delegates, yeah. And even though right now they're essentially tied with delegates 34 to 32, in the super delegate side, Hillary has 362 super delegates committed. Sanders has 8. So total delegate count is 394 to 42 through the first 2 contests. So it's interesting because the Sanders people are not pleased with that outcome. I mean, you win 60% of the vote, you hold your opponent to under 40.
They knacker because of super delegates.
And the Democratic primary is about to become about race, because who can win the Black and Hispanic vote? Hillary has a 74-point lead in South Carolina. Keep in mind that Iowa and New Hampshire are 93 and 95% white voters. So now you're going into states where the mix is much broader. Nevada also has a very large Hispanic population. So a couple of big tests coming up for Bernie. If he does well in those states, then I think the Clinton camp is going to become very, very worried.
So what about where's the women's vote in New Hampshire and subsequently? Because she relies a lot. Well, she relies to a large extent on that, and that's pulled us through in the past.
It has, but the
Pulled us
interesting thing is that Sanders women's supporters are not letting their gender define them in their voting. And they've been, because Hillary's been playing the gender card very heavily throughout her campaign, but it doesn't seem to be hitting home with those who are involved.
That's interesting because I mean that superdelegates thing really. Yeah. I mean those figures are very stark, aren't they?
And it's only going to get worse as they go forward. So in theory, she could lose a whole bunch of contests, but still win the superdelegates.
So they're already committed anyway.
The bunch of them are committed, but there's two that have not committed.
Okay.
So the reason it stands.
But the vast majority are committed, aren't they?
Yeah, vast majority know who they want to vote for.
So I mean, you've got to add those on to whatever she gets in terms of delegates.
Exactly.
Well, and Bernie's 8. So she's going to be way out of her head.
It'll be interesting to see, but this is where most of Bernie's supporters will cry foul.